In this short video, we're going to be looking at how we create a BookBuild file. It's just an introduction to it. We'll actually cover the populating of the BookBuild file in a couple of further videos. So what we're going to look at in this video is the basic overall process. We're going to look at the data modules, the ancillary files, and see what they are. And in the other video about populating the BookBuild file, we're going to look at basic and publication module, and there is also a complex one, but that is really not very satisfactory for one of these sessions, and it's better to do that as we explain as we go along. We looked at the basic structures in the first video, and what we're going to do this time is we're going to look at creating a chapterized book. In other words, we're going to have no volumes or sections in it, and we're going to look at the requirements to link BookBuild elements to the data modules. The BookBuild file itself has 5 parts to it. It's got the front matter, the content information, then there's options and the resources, and then there's the BookBuild application data, which you never have to touch. That's automatically generated. So that's one area where we really would require you to keep out. This is the front matter area. The illustration on the right hand side, it is taken from Framemaker structure view, and those of you familiar with structure framework will recognize it straight away. So the elements down to the front cover a bit are empty. They are just information which you need to put in there. The remainder of the elements refer to actual data modules themselves. The front cover element is an ancillary data module which you need to get populated by BookBuild. The first data module file element is a populated data module called the preface, which is an optional one. The elements which are prefaced by list are automatically generated by the build process as we go along. The 3 data module files are experimental here, and they are the data modules which are pre-filled by S1000D as part of the byte pack. So what we're going to do now is to have a look in Framemaker at this area, front area of the BookBuild file. So what we have in the left hand side here is the normal authoring area of the application of Framemaker. And now, so the first part that we need to put in here is the publication code. Well, let's just put it ABC123. Issue number, that's done via an attribute. If I double click on there, you can see that the attribute window comes up. We'll leave it as issue 001 because obviously this is the first issue of the book. This is the thing you must remember, it's the issue of the book we're talking about here. So what we need to do also is to put in the issue date, 01 to 015. They're the standard. It's a standard system for date in S1000D. And that should be alright there now. There we are. We can see in the top window that it actually has managed to do what it's supposed to do. Page per size. Now this is interesting because what we have here is the ability to pick any one of these sizes. We'll select A4. And columns, you can actually have single or double columns, but what we'll do is to have a single column. So that sets that up. So now we come to the front cover area of the BookBuild file. So that's the front cover, and what we've got here is an element called file reference. Now that's been put in there so that in fact there's not too many errors when you bring in an empty BookBuild template file. So what we're going to do is to get rid of that and actually reinstall it, because what it does is it comes up with this extra window to enable us to insert a front cover. I've created an empty data module there called frontcover.xml, and I'll select that, and as you can see it's put that in there and it's taken care of it. So we can do things here like this is the user guide and put in another equipment title. For another equipment title. Only I could spell. Right. Type, but let's just imagine type X, Y, Z, 1, 2, 3. The title is Maintenance Manual. So we've now put that. This book information is generally used here for things like the copyright information, that sort of thing. This is the content information area of the BookBuild file. You can see on the right hand side there, this is the element view in the structured content window of the Framemaker application. You can see there that what we have is a table of contents, and that has an ancillary file attached to it, and the PM entry is to start the chapter breakdown, and there will be an ancillary file in there because we want to put a table of contents on it. We can see then we've got a secondary, the second PM entry element, and that is because what we're aiming for here is a decimalized, chapterized numbering system. So if that first PM entry is chapter 1, then the second PM entry that you can view coming down would be 1.1, and the one after that would be 1.2. We're now going to use Framemaker to have a look at the content area of the BookBuild file. Here we can see the content section of a BookBuild file within Framemaker 2015. And really what we just saw previously the layout that we had in the structure view. And what I'm doing here really is just to show you that in fact it's how close it is to that view. The table of contents is needs one of those ancillary files that we talked about, and it's just an empty data module, but this is the one that creates a table of contents for the complete document. And then we come on to the first PM entry. Because we've got a chapterized breakdown, we need PM entries to kick that activity into start, and it will have a title. And in this particular case, because of the breakdown that we're doing, this has got the general description title. We just made that up. And because we want that chapter to have a table of contents, this is what we've done here. We've actually created, put in a PM, I've called it PM entry 1. I do that to try and keep track of where things are. So under general description, I've got another PM entry which is called general, and that's got a title there, and we also want a table of contents on that because we want a table of contents on this area. In this particular case though, instead of having straightforward data modules in there, let's shut that up a bit, we've inserted a multi-DM chapter element. We've given that a title, which is called bicycle, because the way we've got this broken down is we've got bicycle, we've got gears and things like that. So that's the way the book has been broken down. So we've got a title there, and it's called the bicycle. And then we have various data modules. The description of how it's made really is the bit that we have in there. So that's the method we've used for this particular book. There are other ways of doing it. So we have a multi-DM chapter, which contains 2 data modules. We then have a singleton data module, followed by another singleton data module, and this chapter then pretty well is, let's get rid of the extraneous bits. So you can see there we have 2 or 3 other singleton data modules, and then we come to another PM entry. That PM entry is on the same level as that one. Therefore, if this is 1.1, this following one will be 1.2. And you can see that the numbering has become automatic there. And because we want a table of contents at the front end of that chapter, then we do what we did before and put a file in so that table of contents can be put onto it. And this is how you gradually include one thing after another, and you can see the PM entry there. We now have another PM entry, so this will be chapter 2, and you can see in the left hand window here, in fact it has got a 2 in there, so it's recognizing that, and you create the book bit by bit doing that. And this is a short book and it's only done for demonstration purposes, so we have three basic chapters in here. Some of them have got sub-chapters. So that is how it looks in there, and you can see that in fact there's a data module code on there. There's a data module code on all of these, all of the files that we have in there, except that one, which is a multi-DM chapter. But you can see that in fact we have extracted the correct data module code in here. You can see it in the structure view. So that is how you create the book. You need to do this beforehand. You can't just do it on the fly. You have to actually plan what is going to go into the book and where it's going to go. I want now to briefly cover the various attributes which are associated with the elements that we create. If we look first of all at the DM entry, PM entry rather, what we've done here, there's not much in the way of attributes here. The start number. Do you remember we said that in fact you could miss chapters out or miss sections out? Well, we perpetuated that mechanism throughout. So if you want to jump a chapter, then you put in here what the start number is. If we look at the multi-DM chapter, there's a range of, see if I can make that a bit more visible. There are a range of attributes which are available. We could go through one or two of them quickly, but you'll need to have a look at the user guide to find out actually what each one of them means. Now, when you have a multi-DM chapter, what it does is it says globally what we're going to do to this section. Even though there's more than one data module in there, this will take precedence. So we've got a data module title. What in the data module title of the data modules do we want to have in there? If you think about this, here we've got, it's called a bicycle. So therefore the data module title consists of 2 parts. One will be bicycle and the other one will be description of how it's made. So in this particular case, the way we're working here is that we've actually stipulated that the what we want in here is the actual data module title. And just to prove the point, if I double click on that data module title, if I now down click on there, those are the options that you've got. You either have all of them, the tech name, the info name, or none at all. There may be occasions where you don't want to have that. So the next one is a fairly simple one, show DM heading. The DM heading in this particular application is the word description, procedural, schedule. So you can switch that off. We don't want to have that. Do we want the data module code at the beginning of each of the multi-data module chapters? In this particular case, we're saying no, we don't. So are we going to consolidate the references? Yes. Consolidate the required conditions? Yes. The references is the table at the beginning of each data module. So we're consolidating those. And you can see there's a whole raft of attributes there. If I now click on the plus sign again, because really we've just got a few of them there, you can now see that we've actually got a lot more attributes being displayed. Let me see if we can show that more. No, we can't. So go to elements. Yes, we can probably do it now. Yes. So those are all of the attributes that you can have. There are some areas where it can help to actually have things switched off or switched on, depending entirely how you want to go. Consolidate safety. This is all to do with the tables at the front of procedural data modules. The numbering sequence is based on the chapter. The other items that are quite important is include DM bookmarks. Now, if you have that set to yes, every heading will be in the bookmarks area of the PDF file. By having it no, then you only get the main headings of the actual data chapter. That removes a lot of the cluttering from the final result. So if we go move down a bit now, you'll see that in fact we've got a data module file. If I now click on that again, and you'll see that there's a much smaller set of things in there because it's not quite relevant. But the same ones, some of the important duplicate ones are there, include data module bookmarks in the file, no, start number, no value, data module title, we have the tech name here. So you can see that we provide quite a lot of optionals which will affect how the actual document looks when you finally produce the PDF. This is the area, one of the areas where you need to have quite a discussion about actually what you want to see in the output. In the previous section, we were dealing with attributes that affected individual data modules or multi-data module chapters. What we're dealing with here now are options which affect the complete publication. To give you an idea about the sort of control that you have, you've got the ability to remove the reference tables. That's either remove them or keep them there. But you'll see there's remove no tables there. If there aren't any references, then that takes precedence. So if you could have got the option to remove the reference tables. Effectivity, yes, show that. Footer, data module code. These are all things on the page that you can see. Replace CGM images. This is where we have cross-references that have been included in CGM files, and we've provided the ability to change those to proper cross-references. So you can see that there are quite a lot of functions that you've got there. Link color is quite an interesting one, because what that does is it actually enables you to change the color of the links. All the cross-references are live, except for the hotspots ones. All of them are live, so it's up to you to decide what you want here in the way of color. Now here we just got it set to black. Other places we can set it to other colors. What we're doing now is going to have a look at the resources section. The resources section is all to do with the logos that you can have in the document. You can have, I guess, probably 4 separate logos, but for each logo you have to define the file that it is and where you want it in the document. So what we're saying here is on the left page it has to be 15 millimeters from the edge. On the right page it needs to be 15 millimeters from the edge. On the left fold out page, right fold out page, the same of course. On the top, that's where we have it there. Now, that is for a logo which is going to appear at the top right hand or top left hand of a page. If you want a second logo that you want to be on the other side, then you just include another logo element, but instead of being 15 millimeters, it will have to be, that's the side from the left page, you'd have to add all the distance that you want it to be, so you can have them swapping over. Now, it's clear that you can probably have 4 logos. You could just have one which appears in the center of the page if you wish, in which case that's where all the information will be located in there. what we're saying here is that we want to make the logo 7mm by 33mm. And the color isn't the color of the logo itself. This color is the color of the background on which the logo is going to be placed. Unless you state it as AECMA white, which is an internal color generated by Mecon, it has a black border. So by putting it on a white background, you eliminate that problem. The final part of the BookBuild file is the BookBuild application data. We haven't showed you this in Framemaker. This is part of the file which exists, and we won't look at it because you should not touch this, edit it, or delete any part of that area of the file. It's where we keep track of the issue status, the dates, and that sort of thing, and it's essential that that stays there because it's necessary for the complete correct operation of the BookBuild. This is really just to remind you of what we call the ancillary files and why they're required. They're empty data, descriptive data modules, and BookBuild itself populates them as part of the build process. The information is automatically generated. So things like tables of contents, list of pages and chapters, the index, that's optional. If you've used the S1000D markup, that'll work. Abbreviations is the same. If you've used the mechanism, that's fine. If you haven't used them, then don't include these into the document. This is the end of this particular video. There are other videos available to show different aspects of using BookBuild.